So I took a day trade today, and I'm actually mind blown that we had 2 clean setups in a row in 2 days in a row. This time it was GU, and let's start on the high time frame as always with our analysis. We're zooming out to the 1 hour, and as you can see, we sweep this hourly order block here that was serving as an inducement, and then we tap into this fresh hourly order block here right below. I love this combination out of an inducement sweep while tapping into an untouched OB or fair value gap. So we have that here, and that's just beautiful. Then we switch back to the 5 minute. What happens after the sweep? First, not much, not really anything of interest happening here. Then we come back down and we have our classical resweep where we get all the 1 minute traders stopped out here first. 1 minute break of structure. All these people getting fooled by the 1 minute are getting stopped out. And then we have our true push out. By the way, I don't mean that every 1 minute trader is like inferior, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people jump on the first M1 break of structure and they mostly get swept. So just referring to that. But what happens after we get that little re-sweep here, we tap deeper into the order block, and then we have a beautiful push out with 2 imbalance candles or 2 imbalance causing candles here. And we close above this whole area here. So we have a true break of structure here with a close. We are forming liquidity here a ton with this trend line. We are also having this trend line. And this is just looking beautiful. All the confirmations that I need with the momentum shift. You see how we trickle down here, sweep, trickle down again for the resweep, and then boom, push out. That's exactly what I want to see. Then when we skip forward, basically what I did here is I actually put a limit here. I didn't want to go for this inducement because I thought maybe I get missed. So I was just, okay, let's just put a limit for 2R. My obvious target here was Asia high and all these imbalances below this serving as inducement. This was a logical target here. So I just put my limit, stop loss under the low, Asia high target, and just wherever 2R entry is, I put a limit. And I got triggered. And then, as we can see, the initial reaction took a little bit, but then we had a nice push out. And then we came back down, respecting this, or actually forming this 3-touch trend line here. So I was licking my lips. I was like, okay, yeah, let this thing retrace. We are just building liquidity. This is all good, all good. That was also the reason. First of all, this liquidity was taken here. That was also the reason that I didn't go break even here, and almost every trader goes here break even, but I don't understand that, guys, because it's just, look at this, the whole stop loss area is still unmitigated. This inducement isn't swept yet. We have all these imbalances. There's so much reversal power. Look at all the liquidity here still resting. It's just too early to go break even. So I did nothing. I'm rather wrong here. And it was a good setup and a valid loss than getting tapped out for break even and then the trade flies without me. It's the most frustrating thing. And what happens next? We get our next almost push out, but then we respect this trend line a 4th time. So I'm licking my lips, man. This trend line is getting stronger and stronger. A stronger magnet for price to smash through it. But not every trade goes to plan. We have uncertainty in the market. If we would always, if our principles would always work, we would have a 100% win rate. Obviously, that is not the case. This was already very late in the session, almost 12 p.m. here. But then we finally tap into this fair value gap here and into, like we sweep this as inducement. So I was like, okay, give this even more time because now we finally mitigated this area. So maybe we push out now. But I gave it even more time until after 1 p.m. But the thing is this, where the pink box ends is London close. So this is the last liquidity injection, and then you don't have that session overlap liquidity anymore. You only have New York session afternoon, and then you have at 12 p.m. the lunch break, and it's just low liquidity. So I was already expecting this is probably not gonna work out. So at 3:05 is where I closed the trade. And yeah, it still didn't fully play out. We had a little push up, now a push below. And now the bar replay ends with this being the current situation. Maybe it still works. I guess we're gonna sweep the trend line and maybe this is just the play here. But this is not, it's not supposed to be a swing trade. It's supposed to be a day trade, some like catching the session volatility, and it didn't do it. Could have easily failed here because the time of day is such an important confluence for us, so important. So if the session overlap here is over and we are still at break even, it's not worth it to hold that and just pray. So for me, that time confluence is so important, and it was over here or not present anymore, so I decided to go break even. I'm very happy with my patience here, accepting the risk, accepting the possibility that I lose this, and just leaving the risk open, let it play out. But at some point you have to cut the day trade. You can't just hold that like a swing. The swaps on this are also crazy because obviously I have a high lot size, so I'm perfectly happy with that. Let's just have a quick look at EU, why I didn't take EU instead. I'm always I'm always focusing on both, put them side by side. So let's see, let me make that a similar candle size and everything. So as you can see, the push out that made the entry leg looks just more ugly on EU. Do you see that? There's no real imbalance, just that small one. And while it generally looks more bullish, it just also looks more, in terms of structure, it looks more bullish, right? It's higher up. It's almost sweeping London high. But the way we come up here is just ugly. It's not clean. It's no momentum. It's just, I didn't like it. So this was the reason why I took GU instead, and I'm happy with that decision. And the other reason I forgot. Actually, on GU, what I told you in the beginning, we had that high time frame sweep and that clean tap into an order block. This was not the case on EU. Let me zoom out on EU. We actually held that order block, that initial order block that got induced here. We held that and we put almost equal highs. So this is a liquidity pool working against us here, being just under our stop loss. So for me, taking EU was just not on today. So I'm happy with choosing GU.